Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, again, first of all, I want to apologize for yesterday. I know it came out super late. Mondays is usually my late days, and plus I was like sniffling for some odd reason. So yeah, apologize for that. But Mondays is usually always my late days, and yeah. So this episode, grab a cheat sheet right here. Open this off. Wow. Okay. You know what? Let's just start with Ally. You know, the Ally and Trip thing. Let's start with Alys Side. And don't worry, I'm gonna get the Trip very soon. Because when I sit there and try to do, here's the thing, this particular story, again, and I said last night, I'm going to say it again, is going to get worse before it gets better. And I feel like this is one of those things where it's like, it's not the juicy, kind of fun story. This is one of those things where it's, he said, she said. And, you know, when you're dealing with rape, it's not fun and games anymore, you know. This isn't one of those things where it's like, this is fun to watch. This is one of those things where it's like, this is going to be, it's going to be tough to watch. Now with that being said, we'll start with Ally. So Ally is with, Claire. And there was some stuff that started to, bother me. So Ally's sitting there talking to Claire, and you know, Ally's getting caught up on Ciara and everything like that. And then she talks about Trip, and she's like, you know, Trip raped me, and Claire's surprised, and Ally says something that just bothers me. Ally is like, well, you know, I know my memory is kind of like, you know, hazy and stuff like that, but you know, could you fill me in on Trip and let me know, you know, what he's like, to see if he would do something like that. You know, if he's capable of doing something like that. And I'm like, well, hold on. What do you mean if he's capable of doing something like that? This is why I said yesterday and the day before that, if you're not 100% sure if someone did something of that magnitude, you better make damn sure before you drag somebody's name into the mud and you're not 100% sure that you did that they did that, because this is one of those lifelong consequences. This is one of those, even if they didn't do it and they swear up and down like, I'm sorry, I apologize, I didn't mean for this to happen, their life will never be the same. Now on the other end, if that person did said thing, then this person should be dragged through the mud for the rest of their lives. Okay, every day should just be a new way of torturing this person. Just a hell on earth, as it will. But with that being said, you better make damn sure that you are 100% that this person did what you're claiming that they did, and it can't be no ifs, ands, or buts, you know. And I can see the comments on the Facebook page now, with somebody saying something and somebody saying you're victim blaming. I feel like that word just gets tossed around a lot without people understanding the full weight of what victim blaming is, because there's a fine line between victim blaming and accountability. And I'm sorry for going off on that tangent, but when I hear her say, well, why don't you tell me what he's like, and I know if he's capable of doing that. You shouldn't have to sit there and be pumping someone of information to make a determination if this person did what you're saying that they did. And that's my issue. Yes, she went through all his transgressions of, how he framed Ben, how he put a scalpel to, Kayla. And she's all like, oh my god, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, yeah, and I get it. What does that have to do with what you accused him of? You know? That's like Cynthia saying, well, she was a party girl and stuff like that. And, let's say she trashed somebody's house. And she says she didn't do it up and down. But somebody's like, well, she's a party girl. Maybe she... You can't sit there and put those two together and they don't line up, They really don't. Especially from getting revenge on someone to doing something of that magnitude. So I felt like that whole conversation was there like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to start cursing. And that's literally how it was. And I felt like when I was watching that whole scene. And, of course, we're going to have to sit there and get the trip. So, Justin comes and represents Trip. Lonnie's all like, oh, well, we'll see about that. Like, we'll see about what? I'm sorry, did you make up your mind before you decided to finish hearing him out? Because, yeah, okay, so she brung in Trip, and she was asking him all the questions. Did you do this? Did you do that? Let me know what's going on. The minute that he said that, Ali accused him of rape, it's like the whole thing just spiraled out of control. And then that's when, Justin came in, and Justin was like, well, you know what, listen, this interview's over. Lonnie didn't do anything wrong. But with that being said, to some extent, I mean, if you're going to sit there and start giving out that information, you might want to make sure that you have a lawyer there. So, and in some ways, I guess she kind of did. It's kind of a middle ground. I'm not going to get into the whole legal aspect of it, but anyway, when Justin came in, Justin was sitting there asking Tripp some questions and stuff like that about Ali, and Tripp was sitting there saying, "I didn't do this, I didn't do that." He got all upset, and then he storms off, and I'm like. Next thing you know, Ali gets to Nicole's apartment. Ali gets to knock on the door, answers the door, and it's Tripp. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Let me get this straight. Somebody just accused you of rape. When you're sitting there claiming your innocence, claiming that you're a good guy, you just helped her out, they're accusing you of rape. She's accusing you of rape. So what does this genius do? The guy who's going to be a future doctor. What does he do? He decides to go to her place. Are you kidding? And that's where it ends. And I'm like, Tripp, I don't have any words to describe how stupid that was. I'm like, please don't get on Brady's level of just dumbness, because I've just seen you for the first time. Don't lower the bar for me. Please don't lower the bar for me. But yeah, that was really stupid. And I don't know. I guess we'll just wait and see. Now let's get to some other stuff. Oh, Bonnie tries to pretty much buy her forgiveness with Justin and Steve by giving some money to some business of Will and Sonny's. And it works. And not just on Justin, but on Steve. When Steve got in there to try to get Justin to represent his son, he starts berating Bonnie. And then when Bonnie hands out the paper to Steve, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, well, thank you, this means so much to her. And I'm like, So pretty much what you're saying in this whole thing is that when saying sorry isn't enough, you could just buy someone's forgiveness. Awesome. Okay. Well, I thought it was through the act of good deeds and stuff like that. But no. Okay. Cool. We're just gonna buy forgiveness. That's okay. And yeah, it works. Now we're gonna get to the other part. Well, okay. There's one other part. I guess we'll just kind of get to that and somewhat get it over with. This is with Xander and Philip, because I think that's his name, Philip or Phyllis. Philip. I'm just gonna call him Manchild Philip. Philip Manchild. Okay, that's what I'm gonna call his last name. I'm gonna call him Manchild. So anyway, Philip and Xander are doing their Tom and Jerry back and forth nonsense, and the intern, comes in, gets some drinks spilled on him or whatever, and towards the end, the only thing that really happens is that Philip, once again, pulls out his man-child card, is like, I'm telling Daddy. And that's literally what he does. He tells Victor of, Xander putting Janice up to calling the cops and getting Philip arrested. And that was it. Literally, the phone rang and Philip was like, Victor wants to speak to you. And I'm like, we're tattletelling now? This is where we're at? And you know what? This brings me to my other point. And I don't mean a rant, but this brings me to my other point. This guy already acts like a spoiled, entitled brat. And now he's tattletelling. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so he clearly wants to get with Bella. And Bella is with Sean. And I'm like, well, Bella is not going to choose a man-child over Sean. I mean, why would you choose Philip over Sean? That's just stupid. That's nuts. That literally makes no sense. I mean, listen, I'm straight, and I can still see the science behind why would anyone choose Philip over Sean is beyond me. But you know what's going to wind up happening? Sean is probably going to wind up taking his whole relationship somehow through all these different missteps. And, Philip is going to wind up getting with Bella. And that's going to signal every man-child in the world up sitting there saying, you know what? I have a chance with a really hot girl. And I get to act like a man-child and somehow things just go my way. I feel like I just see it coming, and I just... Why? With that being said, we'll get to the last part. And this is with Kristen and Eli. Eli pretty much comes on in. Well, he knocks on the door or whatever. And he talks to Kristen. He's like, listen, my girl's in trouble because of you. And you're going to get her out of trouble. They go back and forth for a little bit. Kristen's like, I'm going to do the right thing. And Lonnie's like, Eli's like, thank you. Whatever. And so he walks out. And I'm sitting there, and I'm writing on my notes. So I was like, oh, well, he convinced Kristen to do the right thing. To, help out her friend Lonnie get out of this situation. I'm sitting there, writing my notes or whatever. And then I see him record the whole conversation on his phone. I was like, oh. And he did that too. Which is fine, only because, the DA told him to do that. And he did it. So, and he has that look on his face like he's puzzled, like, I feel bad for doing that, but, I have to do it. I was like, listen, we already went over the science yesterday of how I didn't understand how nothing was getting through his head of, listen, Kristen's going to go to jail. Do you want your girl to go with him? With her? No? Then do the right thing. So, now he got the recording, and he's, he's with Lonnie, whatever, talking, about her day, whatever, in the new case and stuff. And, then pretty much Eli just kind of, he decides not just tell her the truth. Because Lonnie's like, so what does she want to talk to you about? And he just makes up some sort of BS and like, oh, cool, we're lying to her. Right, this will work out really great. So when Kristen goes to jail and the truth comes out, clearly she's not going to be upset with you. Wow. So I guess we'll just wait and see what happens with that. Now, before I go, from what I understand, somebody was telling me that, what's today? Wednesday? So I think somebody said tomorrow may be the last episode, and I think they're going to be doing sports. I'm not too sure. This is something I read at the comment section from someone. What is going on with these? What is going on with these sports and these interruptions of daytime television? I only say that because they can play this stuff on the weekends, and people could be home to watch this stuff. So I don't really, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, that's gonna do it for this review of Days of Our Lives. Now, seriously about to say GH. I'm not gonna lie. I will sit there and say my final rant. In the beginning when I started watching Days and even watching it up into this storyline, I was like, you know what? Listen, GH sometimes can just go off the rails and do things and just stretch out storylines that are just really annoying and really irritating. And when stuff like that happens, I'm always glad that I started watching Days. Because Days just be fun, they'll get to the point, and it's just great. And now with this storyline, I'm like, I am missing the fantasy of what it actually brings. And so now I'm like, damn it, Days. I guess I'll just have so much fun watching GH. Listen, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. GH wasn't my first soap opera. It was really One Life to Live. My point is, GH is always gonna be my show. But there's a lot of times where I prefer watching Days over GH when it comes to a certain storylines. This storyline is just not one of them, and I'm just really looking forward to when we can kind of just move past this whole, Trip and Allie thing and just kind of just start to get on some sort of track with the next story. Because this is annoying me. And this is bothering me. It's not just annoying me, it's bothering me. Because I don't like sitting there getting serious and having a serious tone about this, but I can't do it in a very comedic way where I normally just kind of talk and just kind of just chill out, because this isn't one of those things where it's like this isn't funny, and this isn't really kind of a fun subject to really sit there and talk about, but I want to sit there and try to talk about it in a way where it's balanced, where I'm not taking sides, because I understand how it would look, where it's like, oh, somebody who's watching it for the first time, oh, he's a male, so he's obviously going to sit there and take his side, or whatever, I'm trying to be balanced, but it's really difficult when Ali starts talking about fuzzy memories, and I'm not too sure, and I'm pumping people information to sit there and try to fill my own narrative. It's like, you're not helping your case, I'm not sitting there saying that he didn't do it, but you're not making this look very convincing when you start talking about how much, you couldn't remember, you were intoxicated. But then Trip doesn't help his case by storming off and going straight to her place. It's like, what are you doing? Now I understand it's probably out of a fit of anger and, whatever, but again, you're not doing yourself any favors, being. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for watching. I know this came out super dark. Jesus Christ. It was a lot lighter when I started doing this, so I apologize for this. Anyway, be safe. I will catch you in the next review.